Okay, we're going to take the near bush scene that we had recorded last year, and we're gonna now import the troll into the scene and light it correctly, HDR, and maybe render layers as well, as long as it does not take too long. Anyway, I just set up a project, so I'm just going to set it quickly, select it so everything's in the right position. So now open, there is our scene that Gula had given me, and here it is. This is the scene. Obviously we look through the camera and there's the scene. You can see create some of the trees, and but obviously the image plane isn't working right now because as it's been transferred, it's not going to be located in the same place as on his computer. So we need to change this, which is here, beyond the image plane. And here they are. It's a JPEG sequence. We may lose a little bit of quality, but nonetheless, this is the easiest way. And you can see he's already put the time slider up so that we don't have to. You don't need to. Yeah, well, as you can see, he's just done this little bit of animation here for this object. As you can see here, to be honest, we don't need that. We could use these cylinders that he's used for the trees, but apart from that, we do not need this so far. So let's just we'll hide that. Control H. And now we've got our scene, got our image plane, and yeah, we need to start getting things correct for this troll. So I'm gonna import the troll, and it's just on my desktop at the moment. Right there, bad boy. And where are you? There he is. Okay. There he is. Okay. One thing I do need is a ground plane. There's a ground plane. That's our ground plane. It's on this layer. Let's remove it. Now we've got it. We'll rename it round. Just so I know. It's the only bad thing about getting other people's work. You don't know what's going on. Yeah, anyway. We just want to set him up. Go. The textures, right. Better do that before. Go to your Hypershade. Because again, same as same as the same as the image sequence. This has the same problem. It hasn't located the. It's located most of them except for this bump map. See? And we just locate it, and it's back still in the desktop, same folder, and we'll put it here. Here it is, little normal map Camille had made, and now that should be correct. We might just have to give it a render to see, but let's just see. But up if I was in the right one. Obviously this needs, there he is, Alright, How's he looking? Yep, he's textured, he's bumpy. Right, okay. As you can see, we need to set up the render settings. So we've done the textures, we've done the image sequence. We need to just sort out these renders. So we put it into a TIFF because that's what we want. We're only testing 1 frame, so we can leave that like that. Camera. It's camera 1. HD 1080. It'll be because we recorded in HD. And we don't want the default light because we'll be creating our own. Alright, we need to go to quality. We don't want it. We don't want it on 0. We have it on, I usually have it on 1 for the tests, and then we can bump it up. We can bump this up as well eventually. And all of this can be changed, soon enough. We just want to position them, and then we'll get the image-based lighting in here. So I always use my outliner to select him now because I ended up losing half of him. Alright, a bit confused there. We just want to position him so he's in the shot, really. As if he's actually on the plate, so I'll say he's that big, but we'll put him in the background. Now what we've got to remember is that obviously we want him to be real life looking at this, so this ground plate should be in the right position, so all we have to do is now get him on this ground plate, and as you can see he is not. So let's hide that again. So that was on the layouts, fine. Select it through the outliner, you just want both here. We'll just bring him down. So he's starting to touch it, we will want it, but you can see that there's a lot of rotation if we rotate him that way and bring him back. Maybe a little bit to the right. Bring him up. You just want him passing through a little bit. Yeah, that's it. That should be fine. Maybe I should bring him. He seems like his heels are a bit. I think that looks good. Yeah, that looks fine. Just checking the camera again. And let's just check in the render. It's going to take a little while than the other time because obviously it's really dark because that default light isn't on. So what we'll do, we'll turn the default light back on just for this render because it'll be very quick compared to us spending time setting the lights up. Okay. Alright. Looks quite good, I think. If anything, we need to start using the background shader. And this is so that we can actually see how. There, we just set it there. And how the troll will be affecting the image plane on the ground and everything. So just go to a new material, use background, and we only need these objects for shadows. So if the troll walks past this tree or this tree, his shadow goes past it, it will be affected, and that's what we need. So use background, and we only need it for shadows. No reflectivity with wood, so or even the ground. No shadow. We just need the shadow. Obviously, we could change all these, but we just need the shadows. That's all it's retrieving. So we render now. We shouldn't have any shadows because we have no lights. We only have the default light, which does not. But see, like, this is gone. It's just we just want to see if he's sitting on the ground playing properly. to be honest, he looks like he's on it. He does and he doesn't at the same time. He looks good, but maybe if I had him over here in front of this. So select him for the outliner, just bring him over. And to be honest, just make sure that, you know, if you see this ground plane is on a different, see that it's slightly floating now. That's it, let's use that. So back to the camera view, render. So all the settings should be set up now. Right. To be honest, it's not bad. He's sitting on there, but I don't like his height. I want him taller, bigger in the frame. So I might move him over in this little patch of light here, which may make things difficult, but yeah, this is the whole point of doing this. So we'll bring him over a little bit more, and we'll increase his size. So yeah, this is the frame. And again, we need to check his feet. There, look, completely floating on that side nearly. So we need to rotate him. We need to drop him down. Now there's too much on that one side. We need to rotate him back. Rotate him forward. Or back. That's better. There we go. Now bring him back up. Maybe a little bit forward, just so you can see on that, on his toes there. His toes are. And bring him down. No, his toes need to come more forward. That'll do. That's it. That's nice. He's sitting there. He's standing. He's standing, homie. Okay. Right, back to the camera. Last little. We could do, you know. Oh, we need a forerunner. We'll do a forerunner. I was going to do a little region, but there's no point. There's no point. We've moved him. Like, he needs to go over. I want to get rid of this fucking bump thing here. I think he looks quite good. Let's just leave him like that, because he's pissing me off. Anyway, that's only a little tweaking. We can move him anywhere. Let's create this image base this like before I do that, just so that I keep it structured. The best thing to do is keep it structured, because I've made the wrong mistake of doing stuff from my desktop, and it is not a good idea. So I'm just going to go to my, quickly, it's just to get my HDR, and I could keep my HDR in these folders, but I don't, if I do this, it's my HDR, it looks quite nice, maybe a little bit vibrant, but compared to the scene, seems a bit, you know, that's how I made the HDR. I'm just going to copy it, so I can have 2 copies, you know, what's the worst that can happen? It's only 34 meg, and then I just want to keep it structured in my source images. There we are. Paste. And what we should actually quickly attempt, well, I just remembered, the camera's going to be moving. I see he's still in position, he's fine. He's fine. And how did you get back here, you little bastard? I'll just hide him. There we go, he's gone again, he's gone, he's gone. Right, now. And he's come back. I'm going to end up deleting you, you little bitch. Anyway, we're only focusing on this shot, this specific camera. So now we want this image base lighten. That's right. Create. That's it. It's all in position for you. It's been put in a... But you need to create the HDR. And even though it's been a prick. See, here we go. Right here. And there you go, it's on there. That is pretty much it. But to make it work, you need to turn on the final gather. Now, all these settings are a bit tedious, but I just leave it as a default just because more you, for now anyway. If you need to, you can improve them, but to be honest, the more you improve, the more render time, and I don't want to do that. So back to perspective, I'll quickly show you what it's like. Here it is. Now, this is the hardest part. Where's the light coming from? And as you can see, the light is the brightest part. And so here I would say. But the way to do this is to try and use your troll, your geometry, whatever's in here. Use it to try and cast a shadow on the ground that will be in a similar aspect of how the shadows are in your footage. So we need a directional light to be our sun. And here you are. You can play with intensity and whatnot. So what I do, if we quickly just look at the last render, you can see that there's shadow here. See, there's shadow here. So I'm thinking the light's coming from this direction. You can see here that this is quite lit, and there's a shadow of this tree, which is shadowed on there. So it's light on this left side of this troll, of this scene. So let's just, as well, let's save this. And we said the left side, didn't we? So let's get this fucking thing out of here. Big. Over it. And then push T. Now what T does gives you direction for the directional light. In a sense that it lets you aim. So if there's a specific area or thing you want to light, but sometimes it's not great because you're trying to just pinpoint it for the troll, not actually for the sun. And while you're doing this, see, like, I think the HDR is in the correct position. As you can see, there is the brightest part. And I think for now that would be rough here, but we would need to first turn on the ray tracing. So that's what shadows will be using. We don't use depth map pass. All you got to do is turn it on so that we can just see the effects. When we go back to camera, and let's turn off that default light that we... Right, one thing that we have realized is that when using the final gather, our use background shader becomes a little messed up. And this messing around is proving difficult, but then we actually kind of realised that it may have been messing up in the Master Beauty, but we only, if we're rendering out in layers, we have a shadow layer, and within the shadow layer we do not need the final gather, so it doesn't matter. And to be honest, I think that shadow is quite on par. Just this little test render. My other scene that I had done before this, so you can see where the use background shaders are having a fit, but to be honest, we don't need it for all our scenes. This is a Master Beauty, so, but nevertheless, my previous renders were getting 1 minute 30, and I think this may be roughly around the same time. Now this is with a 4K HDR as well, which is quite a lot. And 1 minute 38, not bad. Okay, you can see there he's illuminating a little bit, but not enough compared to these realistic light. Don't get me wrong, there's not much, there's a little bit of white exposure, but apart from that, he is way too dark. Way too dark. Even just this, look at it's nearly black on this right hand side, and none of these trees are nearly black. Don't get me wrong, this bark seems quite dark. And this is the tree, that this cylinder here. Maybe the sun could be higher up, I'm not too sure, because it seems a little bit too low at the moment. Let's raise it a little. And what, this is the, oh yeah, we'll just leave it for now. So we'll just minimize that, because we're gonna just, it's just the shadow. So we've got the directional light, go back into the perspective view. Now let's get rid of, let's just move the, let's raise it up. Doesn't matter about the size, it just matters about the rotation of the light. So let's bring it up a bit. I just made it really large just to give me the actual sense that the light's infinity is applying to the scene and applying to the troll or anything. But apart from that, it doesn't matter what size it is. The HDR should be affecting him, to be honest. Let's hide the light first. Just see how the HDR is affecting him, which is giving us the indirect light. I should have took a picture of that, but no matter. As you can see, I can see already, even just from this little section here, he is very dark. He's nearly a silhouette, which is unusual because the HDR should not be giving this effect. I'm going to attempt something after this that could be another possible outcome, because the last scene was very dark as well. Now again, I don't know if it's the textures, because I didn't create the textures. I'm going on what I know. Because textures aren't proper textures until they're lit. It could look completely. My other trial looks completely different compared to this. But that is very, 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 very dark. Pretty much silhouette, which is not what we want. So yeah, it's really not what we want. Right, actually, you could see the original. That's the indirect light. What was the point of it? Do you know what I mean? It's the absolute point. So let's brighten him, shall we? Just literally take the bottom of his bottom half of him, and let's try a few things. Because one thing I am gonna try quickly, I'm gonna hide the actual HDR. And what I'm gonna do, instead of actually using a preset image-based lighting, I'm gonna just create my own. So we just need a polygon sphere and enlarge it to engulf the entire scene. Right, there we go. Let's rotate it so it's straight again. And then just quickly call it Skydome. Can't spell today. And what we need to do is give it a new shader. And it's a surface shader. And in the out color, we pick a file. This file will be our HDR. And you will see that there is a slight difference in how this looks. And to be honest, I never thought it would look like that in my life. But let's see what the outcome is, shall we? Let's re-render the whole thing. If this doesn't work, we'll play around with image-based lighting, which I did earlier, which I did on another scene, yes. And again, that's my problem. Let's get rid of that. That's the thing with creating your own. You forget certain things. The render stats. We don't want it to cast shadows, receive shadows, primary visibility, down a bit. Now, let's render that now. Well, let's be honest, I'm fucking it up, aren't I? Right, I do not know why these are all still receiving shadow from it. But as you can see, there is actually no real difference in the trial itself. Don't look at the other. You know, it should, yeah, only others disappearing. But no, look at actually the trial. There's a slight illumination on him. And is it really worth this necessary hassle? No. So we're just going to have to mess around with the... We'll hide that just so we've got it. But Shift H, we get our original. So let's rotate it. Okay, well, let's just make sure that the HDR is in the correct position. As you can see, it's not 100% according to the seed, but I think it's too large. I'd rather be closer to, you know, all that side, we should illuminate him now. And what we do, we're just gonna select, save it, right, we'll save it again. I'd rather do this smaller render so we can see any affection. And I'm not too sure, is that a bit of a change, a bit on his face there? Who knows? No. As you can see, it's really not loving life, is it? Still dark. So we're just going to have to brighten it. You can use this color game, but I don't use that. Just go into the render settings, the indirect, and use the Final Gamma primary diffuse scale. You see, you want to have it on HSV. So this is value, hue, saturation, and value. And I just increase this to say 3. It's quite a jump. I don't know why my render view does that. We'll select the region. And this is really what it is. It's just attempting to try and create this real life light. And remember, this is just the HDR. This is not even got the direct light on him. You can see increasing the brightness has increased the look of the troll. Still very dark. There, look at that. You can see it straight away. What I'm going to do this color gain. We'll put that as a 2 as well. And let's increase the accuracy, 200, 15. And it should maybe just make it a little bit better and less sketchy. But at a price. It should be taking a little bit longer now to render. But, you know, if we gotta take that, we gotta take it. Okay. Only a minute long, but the thing is, obviously, a minute for this section. But let's save that. And to be honest, I think that's getting to a nice illumination now. You know, we can see the colours, and this is no direct light. So this is how he should look, just being in this environment, according to the HDR. And you can see that there is some slight, you know, it's darker here and darker here, you can see. So let's do a full render now, and then after this we can check the directional light, see their combinations. See, this is the one thing we're going to get. Because we have increased the brightness and the scale of the HDR, we're going to start getting problems like this foot. Now this foot is, we've been looking at the texture itself. The texture is quite white, so basically it's highlighting this a lot more, and I think it's more down to the specularity. And to be honest, I have turned down some of the specularity before, and you can see on the face here, and we don't want that, because at the moment it looks like it's just overexposure that is picking up on the face and on the foot, and so this texture's got to be altered, I reckon anyway, just on the foot and the face. But apart from that, everything else seems fine. You know, even the creases of the leg there, it's picking up everything. I think that looks quite good for a HDR anyway. But you can tell that the excuse me, that the increase in render time. So we've got a bit of hand. Let's do this section. I wish you could just render it. Just paint over it. Okay. Hey, look, it's added an extra minute. And an extra minute, is it really worth it? That's the question. Like I said, this foot issue, we're just gonna have to, it's the texture. You know, its face gonna get, because it was more open up here, which is realistic. But apart from that, I think that's quite good for a HDR. So now our render time's 2 minutes 42. So maybe we could lower this down a little bit. Didn't seem to do too much. Right. So we want to go back to our direction light. So we haven't even had this on. Shift H, we've got it back. We moved it, didn't we? So we've got the ray trace on, and we said that the directions seem quite accurate. To be honest, it's just a render and see. Once we get the first render, I always forget if I've kept it or not. I'll probably end up with about 200 of them. Okay, the intensity is only on a 1. It's only on 1. You know, it's not very, very harsh lighting. but there is some, so we might have to increase that, to 2 or 3. Now you can see there's the shadows. We might actually hide these cylinders because they're casting shadows. That it is truly one of the cases is if you have a shadow in the scene. So roughly, I do feel that this is correct because this tree here is casting a shadow over here. And see, look, you see there's that line? Really, to know that the sun's in the correct place is that this shadow should be matching up here. And this is the whole point. Once we get the sun in the right place, the HDR will be in. We can move the HDR to where the sun is visible, so the brightest spot, rotate it, and then everything will be done correctly. So what we'll do when we finish this, you can see, we'll see the difference afterwards. To be honest, the light isn't proven to have much effect, but we don't want it to, if anything, we do need it a little bit brighter, and I can see that he is quite dark here, quite harsh. Obviously the shadow is very harsh, that needs to be sorted. So 2 minutes long, didn't take too bad. And let's see the difference between the with and without. There we go. It gives it that it's more realistic. You can see, look, oh, there's the sun coming from that way. Oh, there's the sun. But maybe a bit more obvious. Bit more, I think it needs to be. So what we're going to do, we want to match this shadow up with this line. So hopefully that is the right shadow because there's a shadow there as well. I think it's that one. To be honest, I actually do think it's that one. And it's this one. And it goes up on the tree. So we need to move this shadow to get to this shadow. So what we use IPR. Yeah, here's the shadow. There's the tree. You got a shadow here. So what tree is that? It's very difficult to see, but I reckon it's this one. So what we'll do, you select a region, and it will render it, and it will keep it update. See, now we can see there's the shadow that we're creating, and that's the shadow where it's got to be. So if we what we need to do, I'm trying not to zoom in because I end up losing the resolution and all that of my thing, and I can't be bothered to deal with it. So what we need to do now is to move our directional line. We need to go in perspective. And as we move it, the IPR will update where the shadow will fall. As you can see, I'm getting a lot closer, so I'm going in the correct direction. Nearly there, I would say. Right, I say that is it. But what we're going to do is check if it goes the whole way. Get a fresh IPR. Because it might not follow it the entire way. I don't think it does. I think that is a very maybe slightly very no, I think it does because that's where it comes up on there. No, I think that is fine. Perfectly fine. So there you go. The light is now in the in the correct specific place it was during that day. So we can close that. And now we can just look if we've positioned, as you can see, that's the way the light is, how the HDR needs to be positioned. And technically it is in the correct position because that is the brightest spot. This is definitely not. That is the brightest spot of the HDR. There's our little troll. Okay. So now we have our shadows in the correct place. What did I say? I was going to get rid of these cylinders, wasn't I? Just hide them. Got our ground. We've got our directional light. Let's just rename that sun. And obviously we need to play around with the use ray trace shadows. We need to change the intensity. I feel like we should improve this. And the lighting, you know, it's quite, if you look here, it is quite white, but there is a slight, I feel like it's quite yellow. Literally just like that. It's a very slight tinge of yellow. This will affect him very much. You see this quite white light. It's very, seems softer here, but that could be because of the texture again. So I feel like this could even be a bit, well, that's it. Right, shadows. The shadow color. We never want it harsh. Apparently, could I give this a little test? Because that's what someone said. They said keep it like a dark blue for a shadow. So let's try that, shall we? Go to the blues. Let's keep it like that. Use ray trace shadows. We'll play with that. I use the IPR for this, so I can keep. You only got to do a little section because it's just a shadow. It's not like it's got a high poly model. It's just it'll be the ground plane. Because the shadows are very soft. So let's give this a render, shall we? Let's just see all these little small tweaks to the sun, how it's affected. To be honest, I've really enjoyed that, what that looks like. Alright, I think that looks quite nice. It's just okay. Right, that's just HDR. Light. That was our first light. See, there's our shadow. We changed the shadow. See that it's going in the same kind of direction as this branch as well now. I think it's lit quite well. Maybe a little dark here. See, there's an intensity change there. The shadow looks quite, it looks just better. Compared to that one, it just looks quite, it is getting there. I feel like he needs a little bit more light about him. So what we could do is, you know, fake it. We'll get a spotlight just to illuminate him a little bit more. Not for shadows or whatnot, just so that we can give him a bit more. If you just look, even here, it's just a bit. I think it needs to be a bit more lit. Okay, yeah, I saved it. We'll get back to the use raise trace shadows. So, it's more, I would say, give it to 3 now. Really, I should be testing every little, you know, do you know what? Let's give it a section. Just do the top part of it. Let's just do him. Fuck it, we'll go nuts. So at least we can just see the general development. Yeah. Well, the good thing about having more than one light is that you can still, you know, you can render them out as separate layers. So I could get a diffuse from one light and a diffuse from another, combine them, and then I could still play around with the different contributions that they make. I think that that 3 is working much better. A little bit of contrast. I think the HDR needs to be turned up a slight more, because this is why we're getting this too much darkness here. If we turn him up, we'll get this nice, you know, he's lit well. You can tell by this, because technically, yeah, that's quite nice. Okay. Yeah, look, it's just a little illumination. I would say the HDR needs to be turned up a little bit. What's this? Let's make it 2.5. Or the color gain. On the primary scale, what are we on? We're on 3. Let's make it 3.5. Because the directional light was working well. If we don't need to add another, in the other scene I put extra spotlight just so I could emphasize the beaming of the light. Because it had a lot of overexposure. It's just horrible, this white foot. I'm going to ask Camille to have a look at the texture map. Just so that you can see whether this is the specularity or whatnot. I think I'm going to turn the color gain down and keep the the color gain, take that back to 2 and just keep the primary scale high. Because I feel like, I think it looks quite good. He's quite merging in the background now. Obviously, there's a little bit of shade in there. Just this white unrealism. Let's compare it. Look at that, there. So it's kept the bright bit bright, even just intensity. So it's just a little bit, we're just losing a bit of too much there on the face. But to be fair, apart from that, I feel like it is looking quite good. So let's turn back down the color gain. And another quick render. So the one thing about it is, it's not half of me talking, half of me fucking just watching this black screen turned to something creative. But it's a very painstaking operation. We could do this as an IPR, but it would take forever. It took a while when we just did the bottom regions. We'd look at the shadow. To be honest, the next thing is really looking at this shadow. Obviously compared to this shadow, it's absolutely horrendous. It's a black line, even though it's blue. Okay, so I only just turned down the color gain, so let's see what difference that makes. If it made a difference at all. Okay. Yeah, that's it. It's just giving that a little bit more shadow. I think it's right. I think the direction of the light should just go up a little bit more, just because compared to this white light here, I think it needs to be illuminated a little bit more. I think I might bring up the color gain again, just a little bit. About 2. Bring it to 0.5. Apart from that, I do feel like I think I'll be happy with it. I'm going to show you the shadowing now. So then, if we get the shadows correct, then if we're getting the shadows right, will be good. Okay. If we get the shadows right first, and then just give them a full render, and I can see what those tweaks were. We just increased the color gain by a little bit and the intensity of the directional light. But apart from that, it is a shame. I do want to zoom in, but I do start losing the scale of it. It's this little button here. Display real size. There you go, let's just do that, fuck it. Right, there's our shadow. There's our feet. What will happen if I increase this to 1? See, this is why I don't really think what I'm gonna do this time. I'm gonna start a fresh IPR. Yeah, we're getting a bit of breakup there. Right, let's zoom out. What I'm gonna do is just gonna take it from there. Okay, I fucked up the render view here. There it is. There we go. Should be a lot quicker. I can see how this. Don't get me wrong, this shadow is going to be completely composited, so much better. So let's make the limit 5. No, it doesn't change anything really. It's just so that that's the most it will go up to. But I do have an override on the ray tracing attribute in the render stats. So that shadow's looking nicer there. Let's increase this to 2. So say it's very slow, but I'd rather just work my way up, see what looks good. Not bad. Maybe 1.5. It's not bad. Let's give that 3. Right, I'm thinking that shadow is looking quite nice. But I wanna, if anything, I could bring that down to 2.5. Anything, it's just so very harsh. So I think the coloring's wrong. Just brighten this up. I just want to see something. Whether this actually does make it blue. I'm gonna leave it at that for now. You know, compositing will sort it out. Right. Full render. Right. Apart from the issue on the foot, you know, he looks to be quite lit well, I reckon. Maybe we'll wait till the render's done. It's just no specularity. We've got a shade in here. It's not too dark. He's still illuminated. I think that's very good. I'm just gonna print screen it. So. Okay. Yeah. Too much. A bit too much there. Just enough. Just a little. That's a bit too dark. Yeah, that's nice. Right. Okay. He is properly lit. You know, it took us probably about an hour and a bit. Just gonna, I'll do some bit of render layers. We might as well, while we're here, get the scene completely done. So, create a new layer. This is gonna be the color layer straight away. We're going right in. Okay. what we need for the color layer. We would need the sun. We're just going to go back to your master layer. Before anything, master layer is the manual override. I've done this in another tutorial, but I just wanted to make it clear again. Whatever these render settings here, these are the render settings that are going to be passed on to the next layer. To all these other layers that we're going to create, these settings will be the default. So quality, we want to bump it up to 4 to see what that looks like. We'll make this 0.5. So now all the rest will have that same. The same final gather will be on. So when we don't need it, we should turn it off to save us the hassle. But I'm just going to do a final render at the end. Anyway, back to the color pass. What do we need? We will need the sun, the mental array, the actual troll. We will not need the ground. So we just right click on it, add selected. And there we go. We've got our troll, our indirect lighting, our direct lighting. And that is pretty much what we need for the color pass. So what we need to do is start. We need the final gather on. Yep, sorry. We need final gather on. We need to make our passes. Right, we need a depth pass, a diffuse pass, an indirect pass. Even though I don't think there'll be any specular, but we need it. Anything else? 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes I throw this in, that's what I was going to say, just to diffuse without shadows. Sometimes I just put it out there just so that, Gulen might have stuff to work with and whatnot. It's just, a little bit more. We're not going to get a reflection anyway. Create and close. Pass them over. Now, apart from depth, we don't need to, but we need to make sure the channels are 4. You just double click. I missed one there. And that includes the alpha. And that. Just double check it. See that on the depth pass, it's only shows the camera depth, so that's the channel it'll be using, the Z channel. Which is chat shit, by the way, sorry. Right. They've been assigned. New layer. Shadow ground. Now I hate render layers now. I used to like them, but now I hate them. Just because of paint effects. Paint effects is the biggest amount of bullshit. Just wanted to put that out there. Don't use them. But anyway. Yeah, we need the ground and we need the troll. And it would help if I actually did have the sun in there. As it will be the cause of shadows. Now, because we only want the ground, we want to hide him. So, select these. Actually, select one of these at a time, because to be fair, I don't even know what this one is. But nonetheless, select another group again, and the way you can't do it, but it's a group, so you can't do render stats. So you just go to mental array, and then you create a layer override. Well, these two, and you don't want it to be visible. This is how you do it for a group. As a single, you could do the same thing, or maybe it is the actual same thing. Alright, yeah, do it for the same thing, fuck it. But as an individual, you'll find out when we do it for the ground. So, that's it done. Shadow's ground's done. Which should be. I would do test, but I can't bother. It's not done, sorry. We need... Turn this off, this little bad boy. Now, new layer. We could duplicate it, and invert it, make him seen. But I'd rather just just start a new layer again. Shadow Troll. That's what we need. We need the we don't need the ground. See, what we could even do, might just put a shadow pass on here, just so that we've got it. You know, if we've got it, it doesn't bother us. Okay. Again, what do we do? Double click. 4 passes. Right, that's done for that. Just wanted to make sure. Shadow Troll. Don't need that. I just put the ground in there just for the sake of it. I don't think we need to, but did I just put that in there? Ground on one. There we go. Now we don't want the ground to be seen. Ground shape. And here it is in the render stats. We don't want it to I just realised on the ground, if we rendered this out, we may just want the shadow. And it shouldn't take this long. Photo gather is off. Ah. See, we need to get rid of that image playing behind. We don't need that anymore. You know, we needed it for reference, but once the compositor is going to start rendering, well, once we just click the render button after I've finished, he's going to have a whole HD version of these. The original footage, these have been converted as JPEG sequence so it could be used in Maya. But, yeah. Wow, it's taking a long while. And there's our shadow. That's it. It's fine. I just wanted to check. I can't bother to wait for this. This is too long for us. Right. So Shadow Troll. Back to the Shadow Troll. Same things. We don't want this. We've already changed that, haven't we? Right? Turn the primary visibility off. But we want him. We just want his shadows. We don't want to see this. We just want to see the shadow on him. So we will get that, I think. What I did, I selected him and his little companion here, right clicked, and I added a new material. I wanted to create a new material override. I just gave him a use background shader so that we could see so that we could see the reflectivity. Not the reflectivity, the shadows of which is on it. We don't need the final gather again. Same as how this has got the use background shader. Same as the ground, and that's how we could see it through. If I just did this, I don't know if it will let me. See that? That's fine. Okay. Right, that's the shadows done. So new layer, AO, ground. Right. AO, ambient occlusion. I usually do my own. I don't rely. We don't need that. We just need the troll himself and the ground. So we need Again, we need to hide the troll. So derived from mile. Let's do this for the other one. Derived from mile. And that's that's just going to show you the ground. You want to select everything. We could do. You right click, go to overrides, create new material override, and we just put surface shader. And we just put metal ray. We want to make ambient occlusion. I usually bump it up to 32. Max distance is about 1.5. Fall off. All these. It's just these two and the samples. Really, to be honest, I'm gonna give it the benefit of doubt. Think it works fine. What you could do is you could duplicate this one so that the material override is working still. So we just call this one troll. So the ambient occlusion's all been set up. You don't need to change that again. All you just need to do is change the visibility. So we need to bring him back. Let's remove the layer override. And then we just go to the ground shape. Create lower override. And now the ground won't be seen, but he will. Well, we still get the effect upon the feet and whatnot. And that will be done for the ambient occlusion. So at the moment we've got colour, which included quite a few passes, including diffuse, indirect, diffuse without shadow, just a shadow as well, just so we can contribute. And then we've got two ambient occlusions and the two shadows that we have made. Now the other one, it's gonna be quite a quick run through, and it's going to be the motion vector. Now the motion vector is quite straightforward. I won't explain too much. We just put the ground and the troll again. There they are. And it's a pass, but the thing is, we don't need final count for the pass. It's this 2D motion vector pass. And it'll come up with this weird name. So what we do, we just straight away see it's all been keyed out, so we don't need to change any of that. Just call it motion vector. And this is just going to measure the amount of It's going to measure the amount of movement within the scene. Obviously, it's different. There's no animation or anything whatnot. But you have to just abide by a few rules for the use of the motion vector. As you can see here, 2D motion vector uses a 32-bit float. Where at the moment it's the frame buffer for our outcome. See that we're on RGBA 4 times 8-bit. We don't want that. You want normal 3 times 32. We'll just give that layer override because let's just check as well if it hopefully hasn't affected everything. And see what's happened now. Just undo. There you go, that's done. Right. To be honest, it's a bit fucked that I should have undone anything. But apart from that, well, right, we saw it was on RGB8 4 times 8-bit, wasn't it? And then it's just the fact we should have basically clicked the layer override first because it affected everything else. And again, same as what I'm going to do here. Layer override first before we get in trouble. Open EXR. If anything fucked up, I could just watch the tutorial again, lucky enough. So, that's it. Let's set up a motion vector. The pass would do it all by itself. And to be honest, that's pretty much all the passes that we will need for this. We could go in and select the whole lot, but and the way of using Renderless is to either separate the passes, separate the geometry, but we've only got the trial in here. So if I did have our paint effects that I'm infamous for, I would have another, I'll have a whole lot more of these, just dedicated to paint effects. But what I'm trying to do, what I want to do now, I think, we could do a matte pass, but the thing is, he's quite. I mean, it would only be his eyes, his teeth, and then his entire body is a part of the structure. So we could do that, or the ground as well. Let's do that. Let's just do a color matte pass. Color matte pass. So, what do we need? We need the ground and the troll. Here they are. And it's all just applied surface shaders. Just little overrides. So, new material. Surface shader. There you go. There you go. Let's give it red. Body. Assign new material. Surface shader. Green. Go to the perspective so I don't fuck up the cameras. Oh, that's bright. Right. I knew that's going to happen. There we go, we've got it in the end. It's fucking half hour. Alright, new material. Surface shader. Let's leave them as alpha actually. Then we've got teeth. There we go. There's a tongue in there, but we don't need that tongue. It's going to be hardly seen. Add new material. Blue. There we go. Color that part so now everything can be easily selected and moved around and whatnot for good ed. But apart from that, that's it. That is it. You know, we've got our, well, everyone's eyes fucked up as well because my highlight is looking at that green. So we've got the colour, shadow, you know, we've talked about quite a bit. Obviously here again, just pay attention, you don't need the final gather rod. And again, master layer is the override, and what we need to do, lastly, I did mention it earlier but I have forgotten it. Select the camera, go back to your image plane. Yeah, done. Now there won't be a backplate, and hopefully I did turn the metal rays render stats. There we go. Another problem. This is where, to be honest, it doesn't matter that if it's, oh no, it needs to be turned off. Always needs to be turned off. You never want to view it. So turn it off. That's it. So, file, save as. Oh yeah, by the way, should have saved it about 2 billion times before that. Now I've only got one file left, especially after that little cock around earlier. But apart from that, let's call this near bushy area render layers tutorial. Okay. Done. Peace out, Intel.